Fabio, it's been a long time, man. Welcome back.
Thanks, man. It's been a minute. Man, it has been a long time. A lot of stuff happened in between.
Dude, well, I was telling you before I hit record, it's literally 6 years and one day since I released the last episode that we had. And to think about my life and how much it's changed since then. You know, I was a bachelor, I was just building, I was starting to get some traction and success, and now have gone on to build multiple businesses that have done well. The podcast has exploded. And I actually, I credit a lot to you, because I had you on and you ended up introducing me to some incredible people, Andy Frisella, Kathy Wakili, people that I still call friends to this day, that Albie Manzo, people that have supported me in so many different ways. I don't think I would still be doing the podcast if you hadn't done that, to be completely fair. So thank you so much for being such a giving person.
I appreciate it, dude. They tell you it's about who you know and it's about the people you will meet. And it's true. If you think about the size of the business I had 6 years ago, it was decent. It was a good restaurant business, many venue, many vertical, different kind of field application we used to take care of. And now, I mean, the trajectory that the business guy in 6 years to today, it's like, sometimes I'm like, I don't know. We just, how did we get here? Right. And you start to add businesses, you start to add opportunity, you meet more people. And then, you figure out what you got in common with those people. And then if somebody's got to help someone, the likelihood of helping people they have things in common with, it's much, much higher. That's why it's really true. The people you put yourself around with, you end up looking like. It really is true. Proximity is one of the most important business tool you can possibly have.
Yeah. And it has changed the game for me as far as making sure I am surrounded by the right people, making the right moves, building businesses, giving first, understanding that when you give, you receive. So obviously I believe that you give on such an extreme level. I've seen you do it for many, many people. And a lot of people don't see it. Like, it's all private. You're not one of those people that goes on social media and record yourself giving to the homeless, right? Like, you're not that person, but this is what you do. How often do you find yourself, I don't know how else to put it, getting screwed, but you continue to give? And how do you continue to be that person?
Look, I don't think I'm going to get screwed, right? I think that people have different priorities. You don't help other people just to hope to get something back. You do it because you do it. I don't think I've ever asked you a favor in 6 years I've known you.
Yeah.
And I love to meet a lot of people in your background. I could have great business connection with them. I'm just not the guy. I just do what I need to do. Of course, hey, look, I'm going to this event. Do you mind making an introduction with Dean Graziosi or Ed Millett? Sure, I'll take an introduction. But if you help in hope to get something back, you should focus that whole energy towards helping yourself, not helping others for a reason. If you help, you help. I tell everybody, you don't owe me anything. You've done all the work. If you were an idiot, doesn't matter who I introduce you to, podcasts will be over anyway.
Yeah.
I just made an introduction. It's like people in my business. I get business all the time from people saying, I'll make an introduction to this big hotel company. And if you get some business from that, I want my cut. And I'm like, don't make the introduction, because you're not going to do anything for it. You send a fucking email. It's not like you went out of your way and you miss your children's birthday to make an introduction. I'm doing all the work. And in business, who lifts the most gets the most. It is what it is. You can't make residual if you don't do shit.
Dude, it's so true. And I can't tell you how many people remind me an introduction they may have made or something nice they've done just so they can try and get on the podcast.
Remember, and I'm just like, I remember that's because of me. No, it's because of me.
Yeah.
You sent an email. Well, how many emails you sent a fucking day? It's irrelevant.
Yeah, it's so true, man. And I love your approach to life. It's absolutely incredible. Let's talk a little bit about life over the last 6 years. You're in the restaurant business. I don't know if you remember, but there was a little thing called COVID that came about and shut down the world for whatever reason. And
I fought it as hard as I could. But the challenge was what are you fighting against, right? Nobody know what the hell these things is. Now, it turned out to be a circus, but to begin with, we didn't know.
Yeah.
And I'm not a COVID denier. I think COVID is real. It's certain people needs to take it very seriously. But, you know, middle age, 40, 50 years old, military age men in a good shape, or women with you know, they have a lot less concern than my grandfather, that, by the way, just died 5 days ago and was 96, right? He's the one that should have worried about it, because guess what? A headache could kill you, or a flu could kill you, or a pneumonia could kill you. So you have to be careful. But shut down the entire world, and I'm not even, you know, restaurant business got a very short end of the stick during COVID.
Yeah.
You know, like I got like, you know, 50 restaurants, 3,000 employee. Yo, shut it down. Huh? Yeah, no, 2 weeks. We gotta figure this shit out to flatten the curve. What? How are these people supposed to pay the bill for fucking 2 weeks?
Yeah.
And 2 weeks turned into 18 months before I actually reopen a restaurant with the restriction. Because when you build a business plan, you ain't building a business plan keeping your table and boots 6 feet apart. You gotta pack the house. The restaurant is busy. And now you got liquor store, you got like you know, weed store, and you got like a supermarket with thousands of people in. But God forbid I put 5 people at the bar without a mask. And the reality is that they made everybody outdoor. So now you have the outdoor of your restaurant that looks like the indoor, but outdoor is fine, but indoor is not. I have to walk in the restaurant with a mask, because otherwise I get COVID or I spread it. But then over there, next to me, there is 7 people eating with no mask. And then I go at the bar, and I can only order a drink if I have food, because, you know, COVID is looking at you and it's like, oh no, shit, this guy's drinking a beer. Let's fuck him up. No, the guy has a burger. We got to leave him alone. Just made no sense. For restaurant, made complete no sense. And by the way, the people that I think managed the whole COVID in both administration of the island, they had no fucking clue what to do. Zero.
Yeah.
Or they were told what to do, or they had no clue, or they had clue and nobody knows. I don't know. All I know is that they shut down the business for almost 2 years with no logic behind, no plan to help, no plan to reopen. This whole fucking David Portnoy has done more for small business than the government.
Dude, he changed the game.
Well, you know, it did. It changed the game. Absolutely. It did something that, you know, was fantastic, but couldn't help everybody. It's not his job to help. You shut that. If you take away my opportunity to provide for my family and employees, and you force me to do that with the high horse of a national emergency, then you better have a motherfucking plan on how to take care of the people that you're imposing upon restrictions. But they had no intent to do that. They just winged it, right? But anyway, you know, we're fortunate in the sense that we have a very good organization. We have we have good people. I mean, we fed, because we weren't the only one in the boat of being shut down. The supply chain, the big company, the real estate investor and partners. I'm not in the business to say I can't pay rent. Y'all go fuck yourself. Yeah. Because a landlord gotta pay the rent just as much as I do. Forget that they're bigger company. They weren't big before they got there. They still got to pay the rent. We will be fine. We're not going to pay the rent. We're not going to pay the bill. Those bills pay for somebody's family. You got to pay. You can't just not pay shit. And the reality is that, you know, we fed so many people, because now we got all this food, all this supplier that don't know what to do with the food. Nobody's buying anything. People barely buy stuff at a grocery store. So we fed hundreds of thousands of people through the pandemic for free. First responders, employees, doctor, nurses, everybody. That's what we do. We feed people.
I love it.
And then, you know, and then reopen, and now no more COVID. Good. COVID's gone.
Just disappeared. What set you apart, right? There's a lot of restaurants and businesses that went under because they had to shut down? Was it the basis that you had great success before? Was it your systems? Like, how did you make it through?
A component, right, of things. Remember, when everything, sales cures all, meaning if you're making money, you don't care about the structure of your business because the extra profitability takes care of it. But when there is lack of profitability, lack of opportunity, and lack of customer coming through the door, you really have to audit your business to figure out what your exposures are and what can take you down. And I believe that 90%, I came up with it, could be 50% or 70%, but a large percent of most business that went under COVID is because they were underfunded to begin with. So as a business, you still live week by week. Hopefully that the next week customers are coming in so you can pay the bill, which is a terrible business model. Sad the reality, but terrible business model. And then also the lack of financial and legal literature, meaning if you look at my contract, my downside are pretty protected if something go wrong. I'm not going to take a liability and then agree to pay for that liability 20 years after I'm done with the liability if something go wrong. So there is some negotiating skill there. There is some contractual things that we put in place to protect ourselves and give the landlord the ability to walk away if they want to, right? But I think that our overall SOP, our standard operating procedures, the knowledge that we had in the legal field, and the right choice that we made at bay before the cattle leaves the graze area and then the farmer puts the lock on the gate, right? Because they always put the lock on the gate after the cattle have escaped.
Yeah.
And the reality is that we did all that. So that gave us some sort of protection and the ability to pause it for a second and say, okay, how do we reorganize this? And we got reorganized. We didn't shut any restaurant during COVID. I'm getting rid of some partnership right now just because I'm at a point in my life where I don't enjoy do things just because you have to do things. Earlier career, you would interview most people because you just need to interview another person just to keep the shit alive. And I did the same things. I had another restaurant just because I need another restaurant to keep paying the bill and keep the boat afloat. More people, more payroll, more client you need. So you're willing to settle for people that you're not really necessarily want to do business with or align. But guess what? The paycheck is good. We all been there.
Yeah.
So now I don't do that anymore. Now I need, I tell everybody I need, which doesn't look like from the look of my social media, but I tell everybody I need another restaurant like I need hemorrhoids. I really don't.
Yeah.
But if there is an opportunity to team up with good business partner to grow a legacy brand like Jars, to open incredible restaurants like the 9 Prime in Westchester's and some of the other places I have that they are opening in the next few months or a year or two, then it's another story. Then it's worth it. Makes it fun.
Yeah. Dude, let's talk a little bit about, well, first of all, what you were saying about partnerships and people, right? Like, yes, I would take anybody in the beginning. I get pitched now 40 to 50 times a day. And very, very rarely do I say yes to any of those people. But then business too, like over the last year, I've fired more clients than I've brought on because I'm like, I just can't handle the headache anymore. Like it just doesn't make sense.
And then you decide, right? There is good business with bad clients, and there is okay business with very good people.
Yeah.
I get rid of the good business with bad clients because if you don't like working with certain people, you shouldn't be doing business with them just for the money. Now, it's also very hypocritical to say because I'm in a position now where I can let a few clients go. Back then, you could stomp on my neck with your boots. If you pay, I'll take it. Yeah. It is the reality. Everybody's been there. You beg for another sale. But the reality is that sometime, like in your example, you said you can't take it, you let it go. You can take, what's the part that you can take? Because if the headache of the business you can take, but you like the people that you work with, it's just too much business, too much headache, then figure it out, the system that allows a troublesome business to operate smoothly, so then you can enjoy the company of the people you like with the troublesome business, which is what I did. It's a big part of my business is to go rescue companies that are going under in their hospitality business and show them how to turn around. It costs them money. It's not cheap, but question to ask is that can they afford not to do it? Because they're going to be out of business, right?
Yeah.
So this is the last wiggle that gets you away from the lion's claw. And the reality is that you build a business around that. You figured out process and procedure that people that have less knowledge can apply, and then they can fix some of the things that usually don't see and don't understand how to fix. But again, at the end of the day, you gotta pick. You can't do everything, and everything is not gonna add to what you want to do as an end result, right?
Yeah.
It starts with, I always tell people, if the whys are strong, the hows are easy.
It's true.
If the whys are strong, the hows are easy.
By the way, I'd watch that TV show, you going in and fixing restaurants and helping people stay afloat. There is a show like that, but I'd rather see you in the position.
There's some great show, but those are probably, lots of those are gimmicky.
Yeah.
But again, there's some great TV show hosts, but we do that in real life. We literally take on client and flip their business around, or simply we go into big hotel chain and company that manage hospitality, and they need an F&B operator and options, and then we come in and we do it. Sometimes they have to, because sometimes hotel have to provide F&B whether they make money or not. And if they can't make money, then we may be able to. And if we can't make money, because sometimes we don't, we tell them that with us, you're going to lose the least amount of money that you could possibly lose by yourself.
Yeah.
We're not going to fuck it up as bad as you will. So
I want to shift gears really quick and talk about the growth that you're seeing, especially with Jars and some franchises that you open. Like, I think it's really important for entrepreneurs to hear this. Like, you can absolutely put freaking rocket ships on the back of what you're building and explode it. Because within a year, like, how many franchises are you opening up? Talk a little bit about that process.
So I thought about Jars middle of 2021, COVID.
Yeah.
And I say, how do I build a business that does not require heavy capital contribution, has incredible margins of profitability, and doesn't require expertise, and the supply chain disruption is not going to fuck it up? Most people don't know that for the majority of the last 3 years, you couldn't buy American lamb in America.
Ugh.
What? What the fuck are you all talking about? Like,
where's it going?
Nowhere. Just sits there. There's not enough butchers. There is not enough company. Chicken, guys, chicken went from $1.50 for good American chicken to $7-8 per pound. People talk about 7% inflation. How about 70%? How about 60%? Price of half of the grocery doubled.
It's crazy. Our grocery bills are insane.
What number are you looking at it? Like, what? Who's doing the math? So anyway, Jars, it's restaurant business without the risk of restaurant business. Now, there is always risk. It's a business. Of course, there is risk. If you don't pay attention to your number, the number will make loud and clear that you have to pay attention to them. But we opened Jars, the first location, 7 months ago. And because of the business model where there is no kitchen, there is no cooking, there is no recipe, there is no chef, my company takes care of creating all the high-end baked goods commodities for everybody. So basically, it's a talented assembly of very delicious ingredient that creates this beautiful dessert presentation. And there is no expertise. You don't need to be a chef. I can teach you how to run a jar store in 48 hours. The investment for the franchise is one of the lowest, if not the lowest, into the food business. My equipment package is like $70,000.
Wow.
That's it. And a $1 million store will put 30+% to the bottom line if you operate it efficiently. Can't find number like that. And we have those numbers right now. So that's why, some of the largest European franchisee group, they got the whiff of it. They come here. They went into the kitchen with me. They asked 1,000 questions. And after question number 5, they were like, I've never seen anything like this. What? This is the easiest things we've ever seen in a market that is one of the fastest growing, which is the dessert industry, end of the market for QSR, quick service restaurants. So we sold entire countries at the time.
Wow.
And now we have over 100 franchise units coming in the United States. Jars will be one of the largest dessert company in the quick service restaurant in the United States within the next 5 years.
And that was in 7 months.
No, I sold the 40 unit before I had my first store, just out of the business model presentation that we put together. Wow. Because everybody's like, look, I don't need to see it work. It's hard to fuck it up. Jars is the opposite of restaurant business. It's hard to fuck it up. Restaurant business is like restaurant. The best way I can describe your restaurant business is that it's raining rocks every day and you try not to get hit in the head. That's restaurant business.
I would never want to be a part of it. That's for sure.
But Jars, it takes 90% of the chances of going wrong away. Incredible, because we have, labor is mid-teens. It's nominal. And the product is delicious. We use good quality ingredients. It's another dessert option out there, but it gives you all the option.
It looks delicious. Like, so anybody local listening, like anybody local to me, hop on this, open a franchise locally to us. Like we're now, I feel like where I live now versus 6 years ago, something like that would thrive now. We're 6 years ago. Berks County, like Wyomissing near Reading.
Yeah.
But we're getting a lot of there's a lot of those dessert chains coming out, like Crumble Cookie and all those types of things.
They're all great. But again, crumble is delicious. I go to Crumble Cookies all the time. I love sprinkle cupcake. I love nothing bun cake. But again, how many cookies you want to buy?
Right.
It's a cookie. My wife go there twice a week, chocolate chip cookie, because she doesn't like 90% of their specials. Not because they're bad, because she doesn't like it. She wants a chocolate chip cookie. So if you want a chocolate chip cookie, fuck it. Just go to Crumble. They're delicious. If you want a cupcake, go to Sprinkle. If you want anything else, come to me. We have 150 different rotating offerings. We have the only concept in the United States that does composed soft serve. Dairy Queen soft serve. Everybody loves Dairy Queen.
Yeah.
They go to Dairy Queen, they get it dipped, they get it butterscotch, or they get it whatever, strawberry frosted. You get your soft serve at Jars. You can get red velvet cheesecake soft serve, and it's soft serve layer with slice of red velvet cheesecake. You can get your apple strudel or caramel pudding concrete. We do things differently, and people are going fucking bananas for it.
Dude, I love it, man.
It's a treat. It's not something you're eating every day, but you don't eat cookies every day. At least I hope not.
No, it's funny. I'm not a huge sweets person. It's just not my jam. I'm more burgers and chips. That's my problem.
That too.
Yeah. Burger, man. Oh, it's so good, man. And then you also have the other franchise, like the chicken company, right?
That was a consulting gig. We got hired to put some stuff together, but it's not our company. We have a bunch of restaurants. We have a lot of restaurants. And we're opening a lot of restaurants. But again, I gotta keep the team busy, paid, and happy. Yeah. So the individual restaurant and all the other stuff as a partners or consulting business does very well. I do the majority of what I do is my legacy brands, and Jars.
Dude, I love it, man. I love it. And so what would you say to an entrepreneur, not even necessarily in the restaurant business, because we're talking a lot about the restaurant business foods, but your genius falls into any type of business, any type of building, any type of whatever, right? So what would you say to a young entrepreneur who needs a foundation? What should you set up first before jumping into building a business?
you have to have financial and legal clarity, because when the sales are not going well, and they will not for a long time, the only things that keeps you afloat is your financial literacy and your legal ability to shield yourself from the mistake you will make. If having a good idea, it's a start, but understanding the economics behind that idea, it's important. Understanding your liability if the shit goes wrong and now you're held accountable for, it's important. A lot of people sign waivers and personal guarantee and all this stuff because of optimism, not because of education. And you know what they're saying, right? Never have a conversation when you're hungry or when you have a hard on.
Yeah.
Because there is a lack of clarity when you're hungry and when you're excited, that it makes you make rushed and stupid decisions. When I'm too excited about a project, you know what I do? I walk away. Just walk away. I'm too excited now. I can't logically think because I'm excited. I got some cash. I want to fucking do it. And you get excited. It's how you get in trouble.
That's discipline.
It's logic applied with a little bit of discipline. And I'm never, and it's not easy to be disciplined all the time. It's really fucking hard, because repetition makes permanent, not perfect. Nobody's perfect. And repetition in discipline, it's a leg up compared to everybody, not everybody else out there. Because I would say that 90% of the people behind your head over there, they have phenomenal discipline, but also they have the ability to sustain extended period of time where all they get, it's punched in the face. You know, me and my wife have a very, very good relationship because we know what we're good at and we know what we're not good at.
Mm-hmm.
We can't do what she does. She's perfect, but we're not talking about my wife right now. We're talking about me. So I can take more stress, headaches than probably the majority of the population could ever imagine. But at certain things, I suck at it. So for the thing I suck at it, you need systems. Because the continuity sometimes is not there. The perseverance sometimes is not there. And if today I don't feel like doing certain things, you still got to set your business up to be able to accomplish those things without you need to take care of the task. Because otherwise, it's inconsistent. And inconsistency only creates confusion. A confusion is not scalable. You can't scale confusion.
Yeah.
So the system is really what these people need to work on. But before you have a good idea, before you find a cute logo, a cute brand, a cute name for your podcast, there is a series of financial literacy and legal education that you need to acquire to figure it out what your tolerance paying for keep putting out money is, and what your downside if you can win. Because sales, it's easy, right? You open a podcast, you got a bunch of famous people, you might get paid a few $1,000 episode by some sponsor. Perfect scenario. Look at Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
It's pay $100 million a year just to fucking talk to some of the most amazing people on the planet.
Yeah, he's an anomaly.
It is an anomaly, but is it though? He's got the perfect system.
I'll tell you what, man, it's interesting when you talk about reach, right? Like you talk about the power of the reach that you may have. I have a friend who's been on his podcast 7 times. And I was talking with him after the last time he was on, and he's like, our team did like an analysis of like the potential reach, estimated 65 million person reach, one episode.
That's what I'm
saying. That's wild. Right?
Yeah, but you know how much money you got to pay to have that kind of exposure? So, and it's different. I don't think he needed to do a podcast. He was a fairly successful guy before. I think he wanted to do a podcast because he's a curious mind and he loves to talk to people. I think he's a good people person. Whether you agree or disagree with some of the things he says and some of the things he stand for it, that's nothing to do with me. That's the beauty of the world, and that's what everybody's trying to take away. We're all different. People,
Yeah.
we are worth the same in the eyes of God, but people are different.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. You hit the nail on the head when you said, he did it because he wanted to. He was curious. So many people come to me and they're like, oh, I'm thinking about starting a podcast. I want to be like Joe Rogan. And I'm like, well, you've already failed. You can't be like Joe Rogan, right? Like you said, we're all the same, but we're all different, right? Like you have to be able to bring your own personality and your own why behind, because once you have the why, the how is easy, right? Like the why has to be solid.
And I laugh because it's very controversial. It's very controversial, but when people say we're all equal, no, not really. No. We should have equal opportunity. Equality is important because equality gives the ability to people to have the same chances, but equity is more important than equality. The reality is that people's are, there is similarity, but people are people. You're the only one with the genome that you have. It's yeah, we can look the same, we have the same haircut, we make a little beard and come from the same culture, or we have the same ethnicity. That those are traits, and people can have similar traits, but we ain't the same. Everything that truly matter, which is what moves people and the reason why they do the things they do, it can be the same. You're not gonna do the shit you do because of what I want to do. It's very different, and it's very controversial because everybody's got to be vanilla this day, or is going to offend somebody. But the reality is that we're not the same. It's just not. We should have the same opportunity. But
that's the piece people miss, right? It is about having the same opportunity, not having the same outcome, right? Like, and I'm a little worried, like if we're going down this rabbit hole, I'm a little worried about the next generation, right? Like there's no competition. There's no, hey, go strive to be better. How can we fix this?
I don't even need to fix it. I gotta be honest with you. We need to fix it. We need to focus on different things. If everybody in my industry bitches about because you can't find bartenders or busboy, or it is what it is. My industry has not evolved. If I gotta be a dishwasher and make $20 an hour and have my back broken on a wet floor at a dishwasher station, washing restaurant dishes for 12 hours a day for $20 an hour, I'd rather go to work at Amazon. You have a nice blue fucking jacket, you push boxes all day, you're never wet, you're never late, you'll never get yelled at it. Different opportunity. Restaurant business is not an appealing one. Not my cup of tea, but if you're a good guy or a good-looking guy or a good-looking girl and you want to go to OnlyFans and show some tits and ass and make a couple of $100,000 a month, if you can pull that off, I got nothing. I can't be judging. I wouldn't do it because we're different, and I have different value, and I have different ways of doing things. But I can tell you with certainty, if tomorrow I could do anything else with my life, restaurant business fail, and I will probably be a mercenary for hire before I let my kids starve.
Right.
And I'm going to go around the world killing bad people for money. I don't know. That's something I wouldn't want to do right now. But when you're put in a position of deciding between what matters to you and the things, then you might do something that you not necessarily associate yourself with under certain other times, right? It's different. I don't want to fix the new generation. I just want them, I would like to give them also a different perspective. And then they still got to decide. You can't change people. You don't need to fix people. People don't need to be fixed. People need to be educated, and then they can make the same decisions. I laugh when people say we're all the same. No, we're not. You guys are fucking eating Tide Pods. We're not the same. No, but listen, we're not.
Yeah.
Y'all can't figure it out what you like, what you don't like. You can't figure it out what makes you upset, what offends you. can say about it, can talk about it. We're not the same.
Yeah.
But doesn't mean I don't wish you well. Doesn't mean that I don't want to give you a different perspective and tell you why you shouldn't eat a fucking Tide Pods. Because although maybe it's funny to look, it's very dangerous. But if you still want to do it, we're not the same. You prove my point. I gave you the perspective. You still decided. God bless you. You do you, boo.
Yeah.
That's what I tell everybody. You do you, boo. Don't look at me.
Dude, I love your approach to everything because you're like, look, I'm going to stay in my lane. Like I know who I am, what I'm bringing to the table, and I'm just going to keep doing that.
The day I have to take a stand, everybody will know where I stand, and that's completely fine. But for me, there is never a reason to try to necessarily have to change people's mind unless you have to, right? If there is an imminent danger for you and your family, if there is an imminent danger for something you love, for society, you know, a lot of these folks, they talk about the current state of things, and they talk about how the demise of America and all that stuff. And I could not be, I find myself conflicted, right? Because you don't change the people, you change the system. I come from a company that the reason why it's successful because we have systems, right? So going out there and yelling at people that have different view of the world compared to you, I don't think is the best way to go about it. That's exactly what it's creating, all this chaos, is divisions. It's not the people, it's the system that is fucked. We should be yelling at the system. It's pointless to yell at cops. Cops are bad. The system is fucked up. Cops are just part of the system. Left, right. I find myself disagree with most of them anyway.
Yeah, same.
Because yeah, I'm fairly conservative in my view, but I am also very, very, very libertarian. I hate government. I hate wrong capitalism, although I believe that capitalism leaves most people willing to work and put system in place out of poverty. But there is wrong capitalism out there. You've seen it every day. Most of the company that try to tell you what to do, it's a perfect example of wrong capitalism. Capitalism is the ability to capitalize on yourself. But again, to me, I just like to give people a different perspective on systems and the things that they can do to better themselves. A lot of people out there embrace these gigantic causes and because they want to feel part of something. But there is a lot of things that should be taken care of the house, because it's hard to go clean somebody's home when your house is a mess. So if we could get a lot more focus on working on yourself and bettering yourself, that's the biggest contribution you can give to the world. Not standing out there screaming at your neighbor's face just because you don't like what they think or you don't like what they ate yesterday. It just makes no sense. And plus, it's a huge waste of fucking energy.
Yeah.
It's a huge waste. I don't care if you have purple hair. But you like purple? Great. Fucking paint you awesome.
Just do it. Dude, I had a guy on my podcast.
I don't care.
He wrote a book called The Second Civil War. And he talked about exactly what you were just talking about, right? Like, it's the system. It's meant to divide. It's meant to weaken. It's meant to whatever. But if you can just focus in on yourself and your home and get that clean first, that's a ripple effect. That's a domino effect that changes the game, man. So such a good point. But I want to ask you a question that I ask every single person on the show. I have no idea if I've asked you this 6 years ago. So we're going to give it a whirl. It's a 2-part question. Please. The first part is, what is your definition of success? The second part is, what are 3 things you do every single day to ensure that success for yourself?
My definition of success is the ability to get to the point where I want to be. What I mean by that, for me, it's a change in target, right? In my wildest dream, and this is going to be very cliche, but in my wildest dream, I could not picture to be and to have what I am and what I have today as short as 15 years ago. Wildest fucking dream. wildest. Yeah, I'll have a couple of restaurants. Yeah, I'll make some money. I'll cook some food. Wild. Be one of the fastest growing brand in the world. Wild. Right? But the aim changed. So if you're smart, your definition of success adjusts with your personal growth, your personal intelligence going up, the IQ going up, you're smarter than before. Your definition of success should change.
Yeah.
Because if you're asking a 10 years old what your definition of success for the part of the world he has seen, it's my son has a YouTube channel. He loves YouTube channel. The other day he got 3,000 views on his Pokemon video and he says, Dad, I'm successful. And I'm like, yes, you are, buddy.
That's
yes,
awesome.
But the definition of success, if you're really smart, it's a moving target. The three things that get success is gratitude. The three things that get success is replacing expectation with appreciation. Because if you replace expectation with appreciation, then you figure it out that you don't have to spend any more time trying to get blood out of a fucking turnip. Turnip are good for something, but you can't get blood out of them.
Yeah.
So if you appreciate what a turnip is good for, then you're going to find the proper place for the turnip within your organization that is building your and everybody else's success. Gratitude, you need gratitude, because if all you can see is the things you don't have, you'll never be able to focus on the things you want to achieve because those are not there yet. And you focus on those things in a negative way. You know, they're saying $1 million is built by $1 million bill. $1,000,001 bill.
Yeah.
Because the biggest stuff you can possibly achieve, it's a ripple effect after you've done correctly all the little shit. So now you add that with the repetition, so gratitude. You got to replace appreciation with you got to replace expectation with appreciation is a big one for me. And then you got to have, you got to be very good. And this is can be trained, but you have to be very good at finding where the opportunities are. There is always an easier path to the things you're trying to do, right? Because if I was you, and I'm going to give you an example outside because it's easy for me to talk about myself. I'm doing it, right? If I was you, and maybe you're doing it, how do I really blow up my podcast this year? Okay, well, let's make a list of everybody I have interviewed by relevance. From number one, maybe is the guy, Andy Frisella. You want one number, big guy right now. Ed Millett, big guy. You know, whatever. From the top to the bottom. And if I was you, I would have a phone call with them and say, hey, I really set myself to blow my podcast up this year. If I provide any value to you, and if I provide you a platform that you enjoy, would you mind to take 3 minutes of your time and make an introduction for me and my podcast to the top 3 most influential people you know? Now you interview a couple of hundred people. Now you have a 500 people list. You do that, you got 5 years worth of fucking content. You could be shooting 5 years worth of content, and you could be doing 3 interviews a day. So now you took a year of your life to create 5 years worth of content. Now you have that content. You spend the next 3 years working on the content and the system because the content is already there. Now you work on the system, right? So the opportunity that you approach with gratitude and the understanding that you got to appreciate the things that are being done, but it's very hard to build a business if you have a lot of expectation from everybody. You should have expectation, by the way. Don't get confused. You should have expectation. You should expect a lot, but don't expect it forever. Meaning, if you don't get it, move on, right? We hire fast, we fire faster. We give it all, but if you're not reciprocating quick, we'll let you go to different venture. We are sorry we couldn't provide an environment for you to grow. You don't need to get frustrated because your expectations are not met. Also, you shouldn't be lowering those expectations. You should be appreciative of what you're getting, And if that doesn't meet your expectation, then change the source of what you're getting things from, right? It's like in a partner. What would you be with a person for 30 years if this person does not meet your expectation that you have in a partner? Now, also relationships are compromise, I get it, but instead of getting frustrated every day and argue with your partner, appreciate what she has to offer and then make the decision if that's enough for you or not. If it's not, move on. But don't be angry because your expectations are not met. It's a crazy thing because everybody in their company has someone or something that makes them angry and doesn't meet their expectation, and it's a gigantic waste of fucking energy. So if you replace expectation with appreciation, now you see these people in a complete different light. They might still not be good for the business, and you still might gotta let them go. But your life, it changes like that. So much easier.
Dude, I love it, man. That's such a great approach. And obviously, you know, I feel like there's so many amazing takeaways and nuggets that people can take from this episode. So go back and listen again. Like, I highly, highly recommend that. I wrap up every single interview with the same question as we're coming down to the last couple of minutes of our time together. But before we get there, how do people find you online? How do they follow you? How do they get into the franchise? What's all the good stuff?
I'm easy. FabioViviani.com is my website. Fabio Viviani, Instagram, Chef Fabio Viviani, I think it's Facebook. I'm on social, but I use social more like for fun. I do business too. I promote some of my stuff there. But for me, social is like when I got nothing to do 10 minutes a day, I go there, I bullshit on my phone for 10 minutes. Follow you guys. I follow people I like. Check in what's going on with you guys. But for me, the easiest things to do, you go to my website, FabioViviani.com. If you're looking at a kick-ass business in restaurants, Jars, you got to take a look at it. Jars.Fabio.com. It's another website. Or just go online and just type it in, Jars.Fabio Viviani, and that's me. But that's it, man. I trust me. I'd rather not be found. My goal is not to be found. It's like I need to move. Like the faster I can get out of the spotlight, the better. I need peace and rest, and this is it's funny because sometimes you get the things you want to, and then once you get them, you don't want them anymore.
Dude, I hear that.
The fame, the glory, the interviews, it's all good because it does good for business, and business pays for a lot of people and their families. So I'm thankful to be a vessel that provide for a lot of people. But if I could be on top of a mountain by myself and not talk to anybody, I would.
I love it, dude. I love it. So like I said, I wrap up every single interview with the same question, and I'll have to go back and hear if it was the same answer 6 years ago. But since the show is called The Growth Now Movement, that question is, in your life, what has been your biggest moment of growth?
The day I became a dad. It's fucking wild. It's wild.
Yeah.
The day I became a dad, the first moment I held my son, I realized that my life was never gonna be about me ever again. Fucking wild, bro. Wild. I drive more carefully. I invest more carefully. I work out. I take care of myself just because this little fucker, it's there. And now it's useless. It's fucking there. Kids are a blessing. Kids are a blessing from God. That the kids to me are truly the meaning of life. And if you don't like kids, that's okay. You do you, boo. But for me, was the moment I was like, holy shit. Like, I'm a dad. There is a human being that directly this little fucking thing. And that for me was wow. It was like, holy shit. Like now it's got real. Like now we gotta take care of something forever, right? And it's commitment. It's a lot of love. It's a lot of patience. It's a lot of long night and long days. But being a dad was definitely my biggest growth moment. There's nothing that compares. Nothing. I could have the shittiest day on the planet. Come home, Dad, you're the best.
You're like, I made it.
I gotta make it. That's all I need.
Yeah. If you could only, I know this, I said that was the last question, but I got one more after you talking about that. You have a lot of life lessons that you can teach a lot of people. And this episode is a great example of that. But if you could only give one to your son, what would that one life lesson be?
It's a great it's hard to give you a condensed answer, but the answer that I can give you would sound like you can be right or wrong, and you will be both. As long as you come from a good place, there will always be a solution for it. Anytime you're in trouble, anytime you're down, anytime something goes wrong, there is always a way to fix it. Always. No matter what happened, no matter how big the mess is, if you come from a good place, it's going to be all right. You might not see it because you're young and you're stupid and you're excited and you made decision either hungry or with a hard on, and that's okay. But if you come from a good place and you didn't mean any harm to anybody or anything, there's always a solution. Always.
I love it, man. Fabio, thank you so much for.
I love you, dude.
On. Yeah,
thank
dude, love
you guys. I appreciate it.
Dude, I appreciate you. Yeah, man. We'll talk soon.
All right.